there's a city now that I think their goal is by 2025 to have a good portion of their city converted to completely driverless cars.
Yeah, Singapore.
Singapore,
guys,
yeah. That's going to be...
I'm not,
I will want to go visit if they have the kind of infrastructure. I will go visit just to see that sort of infrastructure set up. That would be amazing.
It's going to be tech city. It's going to be amazing, right? So it's like, you got places like China as well having 25-year plans. Like, where do you see that in the rest of the Western world? Right?
Exactly.
Not promoting communism or socialism or anything like that.
Right. Well, that was
a longer term view of things.
That was kind of what one of the things I wanted to get into with you. So let me give you another for the sake of any listeners. This is Peter Xing. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your last name.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, fantastic. So yeah, this is a guy I've had on the show before. We seem to go some interesting places as far as I believe it was like transhumanism and simulation theory and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So with a lot of my friends, I've been sort of talking about the I guess socialism and the kind of social structure or government structure that we would need to bring about the next technological age with automating everything like driverless cars and automated workers and stuff like that. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think about the social structure and the governmental structure that would need to be in place?
Oh, it's a tough one.
It's
a tough one because when you have humans at the top, they're always fallible, right?
Right. Well, my thoughts were putting an AI on the top. I mean, how awesome a truly altruistic AI. I mean, don't you think that would be?
That would be, I think that would be the ultimate goal, the all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-good.
Of course.
And it's just about getting people to eventually trust this AI that it is for your best interest, and right? I think not programmed so that you're just constantly smiling. Yeah.
And I think it would also have to have some sort of interface to the human mind to be able to, I guess, understand what's really important to the human race.
And it'd be absolutely individualized, right? So
of course.
You know how there's sort of direct democracy at the moment that's very popular around. In Australia, there's online direct democracy party as well. They're sort of trying to get this.
I think that's brilliant.
Every issue will be voted on by the public.
Well, that's something that can
actually,
That's something I really would like to see here. Is just it would simplify the process so much, and it would actually eliminate a couple different ideas that we have about electing our leaders.
There's one thing you got to be careful of. Is like, that's right. But it's like, be careful what you wish for, right? So people think of things that would be nice, and then they go for it, but then they actually cause. It's called a wicked problem, right? So once you address it and you change the environment, you have more problems.
Well, I don't know. I kind of like the idea. It would get more. I think the popular vote would have more sway than whatever your district people or your what do you call them? Electoral college would have to say about who gets elected.
Yeah, so I was really impressed by the White House, you guys. Obama talking about AI and in government, how that can better inform government decisions.
Yeah.
So that was like, you know what?
It kind of needs to.
It
really does.
It really eradicates the whole subjectivity of judgment, right? So when you have people making decisions at the very top, they're influenced by personal lives experiences and also, monetary incentivized means from the corporation, that sort of thing. But if you can actually do I know a startup called Rebutter, which is one of the guys from Australia, is taking all the arguments in Reddit, putting the pros and cons, right, and giving the exact argument of everything that's ever been mentioned on the internet for that particular argument.
That's really cool. I have to check that out. Is there a website or something? I'm sure there's a website.
It's like RBUTR, right? So, I mean, that's the sort of ultimate aim of democratizing knowledge, having a collective intelligence for society, and more information.
Yes,
I know there's privacy issues. More information does make better informed
judgment. Did you see the recent incarnation of Watson, IBM's AI?
Yeah.
They used it as a TA.
It was running for president. Yeah.
They used it as a TA in a online college course, and the students couldn't tell. So they couldn't tell, and then into the class, they introduced, that this is what happened. Everybody's like, that is insane. So an AI was the TA. So it was like grading papers and looking up answers for students and stuff like that. Just busy work that most of the TAs don't have time to get to, but they couldn't tell they were interfacing with an AI.
It's insane. We're trialing Watson at Deloitte as well. And
oh, really?
We've got so it just it's a knowledge work, right? Professional services, accounting firms, also that sort of thing, requiring human labor to do research. All that sort of work is going to go the way of the driverless cars and the drivers and those sort of things. Yeah. So you're seeing
machine learning,
this knowledge work being automated
Yeah.
And speaking of Watson, there was a Watson for president 2016.
There really was a Watson for president? Oh, how did I miss that? That is so good.
Third-party candidates, right?
I'd vote for Watson.
But Zoltan was all for that as well. Zoltan,
have you ever heard of Vermin Supreme?
Vermin Supreme? No.
Okay, so he's a presidential candidate, or at least he has been for the past 2 years, I think.
Yeah, right.
He wears a big boot on his head. And he's a political satirist, but he's legitimately on the ballot. Like, you can vote for awesome. Vermin Supreme. And let me see, his political party or his platforms are something like zombie powered. So you would use zombies to generate energy. And a pony for every person is another one of his platform issues.
Yeah, that is gold. What way to play it to the popularist way.
Well, yeah, I think so. Everybody needs a pony, really.
Yeah, exactly.
And zombie power, that just sounds amazing.
Yeah, if you're against zombie power, who are you for?
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
So that's really cool. Like the AI stuff, that's going to democratize a lot of things. And we're trying to introduce some of that to our science party as well.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at how do we...
You have a science party.
Yeah, so this is, I think I'm not sure if I mentioned it last time we talked about the transhumanists in Australia. They've partnered up with a future party. So it used to be called the Future Party. Now it's the Science Party to, have a better idea for newcomers, new voters to see, okay, what do we actually stand for? I guess science is one of the main things.
Right.
And we've got a federal election coming up on the 2nd of July.
Okay.
So I'm actually running in the seat of the Prime Minister.
Oh,
so
really?
I'm that third-party candidate.
That is amazing. Yes. You're running for prime minister? That is awesome.
Oh, no. Well, it's just a candidate for his seat, right?
I see.
If I unseat him, he won't have a seat to actually be a prime minister. But it's just an awareness-building exercise.
Still, I think
still there? You looks like your frame's frozen up.
Yeah, I'm still here. Welcome back.
Ah, there we go.
All right. Yeah, so what I was saying is so when you think about the altruistic AI overlord and getting people to trust it, I do work in network security, so it's very apparent to me, or getting not even necessarily that I guess the voting thing, like voting online. There'd be, I think, a lot of people that are going to have trouble trusting that. Simply from I'm an ethical hacker, like I'm familiar with the threats out there in computer land, so it's I get it, with there being a trust issue. There definitely have to be some very robust security around some sort of system that allowed people to vote.
Yeah, that's right. I know you come. It's still the line's still a bit broken up, but I got what you were trying to say. But yeah, it's going to be so hard for people to trust, any manipulation, right? They still want to see, volunteers going out there to count the votes coming in, and it's one of those things where, well, look, you're going to have miscounts from manual counting, but like the risk is huge if you consider people hacking the system and actually changing the votes by the hundreds of thousands, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how to get around that. I mean, there is the whole distributed ledger thing that we're exploring with transactions, banking transactions. Mm-hmm. So if you could have one of the other money parties in Australia is called, I think, what was it called? Just let me look it up. Oh, had it first. Flux Party.
Okay.
flux.org. And what they're trying to do is essentially putting the individual votes on the distributed ledger, so you can actually the system itself can cross-check that vote was correct. Mm-hmm. Kind of like what Bitcoin does with blockchain.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that's one way to do it. Unless you have the computational power of greater than 50% of the system to actually make it to influence it the other way around. But that's one of the ways. But yeah, it's going to be a challenge for people to convince that this is a system that would work online. But it is the ultimate way, the most efficient way to do it.
It has to be. Like I can't think of any. Like with the technology we have, we just need to, I guess, better our method of doing things. We need to our social structures need to grow with the technology.
Yeah, definitely. And when you're talking about sort of AI overlords as well, it's like, when you're looking at,
I guess it's the evil way of putting it,
right?
Yeah, it sounds dark and gloomy.
But it's like, it's kind of like relating to how people, of faith have sort of this all powerful, all knowing entity, right? So if this AI essentially knows you the best, you have almost a trust in the entity. It's like you have faith in the AI.
Pretty much we're engineering God.
Interest. Yeah, that's right.
It knows all about you and your head and what you want out of your life and your dreams and your goals and your passions.
Yeah, that's right. It'll be raising you up as a child, right? So you got things like the Barbie doll that's powered by AI now. You got this, there's this thing that powered by Watson dinosaur. I'm not sure if you've seen it. Yeah, it's called the Cognitoy.
Really?
Cognitoy. Yeah. So it's like it's literally the kid can ask questions and it comes back with answers from Wikipedia and it.
That is amazing.
Hopefully it's censored, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that was one thing we were. Oh yeah. So the Microsoft AI, that was great.
Yeah. Yeah. The Tay Butt.
Yeah, I think that one. I think people had figured out how to exploit that and make it say things. Like it wasn't necessarily that was picking a lot of these things up, but they did figure out how to exploit it and force inject basically what they wanted it to say. So a lot of what you read out there was people messing with the AI.
It was. It's actually a reflection of how humanity is like, how a small portion of humanity is just that evil, right?
Yes.
It's like,
well, I don't think it's that they're that evil. They're just, all right. So how I get into computer hacking was, it's trolls. How I get into computer hacking was just being a bored teenager with access to an internet connection and a decently powered computer.
Yeah, it's like they do it because they can, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a lot of it. Like just monitoring network traffic for my organization, we look at connections coming in and stuff like that, and you can tell when there's just some bored teenagers just throwing scans at it, out there at big blocks of IPs.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just gonna try turning the video off to make the connection a little bit better.
That's fine.
The audio's
your side's coming through just fine on me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe just turn the video off and then we can see if that betters the line. I can hear the questions a little bit clearer.
Let's see. Turn off video.
Let me see this way. I think that's a little bit better.
Is that a bit better?
Otherwise, it'd be a real shame. I'd lose video and
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's much better. Yeah, that's much better.
So yeah, I do think we've got some growing to do as far as our social structures catching on to the times, and I like to hear that there's I guess pushes politically for technology, really for that advancement. Yeah,
I'm really passionate about AI because it allows us to solve some of the world's biggest challenges, right? Like in healthcare, and you see entities like Watson Health and DeepMind, Google's DeepMind Health, setting up entities where they're using deep learning AI technologies to find cures to cancer. And, in the sort of radiology space with image recognition, you can actually see that being applied to X-ray scans, MRI scans. So that accelerates the ability for us to process the data capture and being able to advise that in a more accurate way to patients earlier on. That saves lives. And if you're looking at cures to new diseases as well, like Alzheimer's, and, we're dealing with an aging population. So like this technology, curing one disease at a time, and with the ultimate goal of curing aging, right? That's where I see the passion, right, of AI. It's just an amazing time to be alive.
Well, I think that's one of the, I guess the thing that fascinates me about AI is the improvement of people's lives. So the not having to work a standard 9 to 5 unless it's something that you're truly passionate about. Like you get to work toward things that you really want to do, and if you don't want to do that, then your basic needs are taken care of by robotics.
That's exactly right.
That's the whole point of technology, is to ease the burden on man, and
that's
awesome would it be?
Because there's a whole lot of bullshit jobs out there, right?
There are a crap ton.
Like I used to work in business tax, and they pretty much are the in-betweeners between the government trying to take a clip of the transaction of its citizens and the sort of companies that are trying to dodge it, right? So, not really dodge it. It's minimizing.
That sounds
tax
like a miserable job.
Yeah. It's essentially like we're the middleman, and we're here to help you argue how much that should be taken. Yeah. And if we can just automate that and agree what transactions are, taxable and not taxable, that'll be great.
I agree. And imagine how well a system would be run if being run by a super intelligence. Imagine how well it would be run as far as, who gets taxed what.
That's right.
Ultimately, exactly. I don't think taxes will ever die. I think there's
a death in taxes. Is that
yeah, pretty much. I think there's always a need for some taxes. Like, I'm not saying, by all means take everyone's money, but you do have to, if you're going to live in a society, you got to kind of contribute a little bit.
Well, that's one thing of sort of trying to explore is in the future where you have sort of robots doing all the work. It's almost like,
true.
They're the slaves of the late 21st century, which is kind of sad, but, unless they start rebelling and all that,
well,
robots
that'll
will
be
do all the work.
That's a risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah, that's right. And if that's the case, then we have this sort of age of abundance, right, of converting energy to everything that we could ever possibly want.
Mm-hmm.
That just sort of takes the onus on not taxing, but who owns the robots and
right.
who decides what's created.
Right. So if the robots are repairing other robots,
that's right. Yeah. Then what is the point
labor is free.
Exactly. So what is money in that society? What is tax as a subsequent concept? So that's in an age of abundance. It's almost like a Star Trek sort of a society where you're just there to enrich yourself and, discover the unknowns and pursue your passions, be creative. But a lot of that stuff is probably going to be done by robots and AI. So there might be people that decide to merge with that AI just so that can actually enable them to pursue those sort of further advancements. Or you could just live in a virtual reality world and just chillax for the rest of you.
Well, I like the idea of merging with the technology. I like that idea, the whole biohacking thing. It's definitely in its infancy, but just the things it can do. But also, there's been a huge push in VR, and that's some amazing stuff. I really would like to get my hands on, is it the Vive, I think?
Yeah, HTC, right?
Yeah, I don't really have the money to throw around at something like that just yet, but
I'm sure if you get some good sponsors, they'll get it for you.
I would love that. That would be awesome.
Test it out for your radio show. Yeah,
that would be amazing. I've got a great space for it, actually. So I am in the process of. I'm still in the process of getting a studio together. We're actually looking for a real studio space that I can have people in and stuff like that. I also have now a semi-monthly show. There's a local underground comedy show. Or a comedy club, I should say, and I've been invited to go in and interview their guests, and it's a great place to try and get people on, try and promote a little bit of my city and get sort of a local following.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah,
you can actually have sort of the videos of people walking around in your HTC, getting fooled by the virtual reality.
I think that would be amazing.
This is like. It can help you overcome your phobias, right? In this virtual world, a safe environment. But I've seen people actually just push people while they're looking at a VR roller coaster.
Oh, that's evil. That is evil. Because I've got a bit of a thing for heights. And
oh no.
Well, there's a few of the games that I've seen out there for the Vive, and wow. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. That's intense.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I'd love to try it, though, just knowing that there's nothing that, could actually happen to me while I'm hanging out.
Yeah, that's right. And you can see sort of a future where people are going to be so immersed in this virtual world that they would prefer it over the actual reality, right? So the Matrix, sort of blue pill, red pill thing.
Right.
And they can just live on Soylent,
Yeah, exactly. We need to get started on those Soylent farms.
That's right. And we have a future of all the corporate ladder climbing is going to be made redundant with, robotics and AI. They can just play a World of Warcraft in the virtual reality and still have a sense of achievement.
And they would. They could be that character.
Yeah. And that sort of the chemistry in their brain is essentially equivalent to what they're doing in real life, right? So
exactly.
It's a tough one.
That's
yeah.
Because there are lots of dystopian future, sci-fi novels out there that play with that concept of, this particular society figured out VR and got really good at it, and now there's really no being on the planet apart from AI. I mean, they're still there. They're alive, but they're in this VR world. They don't really physically walk around and move around on the planet. But then again, what's the difference? Simulation theory.
And it's back to simulation theory.
Exactly. Right? Crazy. So there's
that's something that the AI overlords would potentially do.
Yes, pretty much. Then at what point, how deep are you? Do you really know your place in the universe?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I think there's still 95% of the known unknowns we don't know. There's still a lot to pursue, right? So we can get AI robotics on that.
Yep.
But human curiosity can be embedded in sort of the AI algorithms going forward.
Of course.
But
I think there's going to be a lot of upset scientists, though, when the AI starts making discoveries, and they're like, well, shit, we should have thought of that.
Damn, all these Nobel Prizes going to these bloody AIs.
Oh, I would love to see that. The first Nobel Prize awarded to an AI.
Yeah, we got the TED Talk going for it. I think in 2020 they're trying to get the first AI to give a TED Talk.
Oh, that'll be amazing.
All on its own. Yeah.
That would be amazing. I wonder what it will study.
And will it get a standing ovation?
That's another thing. And will it care if it got a standing ovation?
Yeah, that's right. How would we know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is some fascinating things around the unknown unknowns as well, right? So, that's the 95% of the known unknowns is from what we can measure, based on gravity and what we see from the redshifts on the expanding universe. It's really fascinating for me is if the human race had sort of, come to this point of, a few billion years later, right, in the sort of cosmic scheme of things, we would not be able to see other galaxies because sort of the accelerating rate of expansion of the universe would have made it so that we're the only galaxy sort of contained in the visible spectrum of light reaching us. So we could never have had an idea of what sort of dark energy is. So our known unknowns would have been limited to potentially just the dark energy. So the 25%, right? Dark matter, sorry. Yeah, so it's just fascinating, right?
It is.
We live in a lot of Goldilocks zones.
We do. Yeah. The nature of reality is a weird place. I'm not sure if we talked about this or maybe not, but that was an idea, and I kind of like the idea that maybe we are just consciousness that have been plugged into the machine to experience the roaring 20s of the technological age. In order to prepare ourselves for the next stage, which is we'll just wake up and pull ourselves off of the machine and be in the real world.
That's right.
And it was all just a test to help us make sure the world is full of really cool people.
Yeah, that's right. We could all be actually in cryonics, right? So
yes.
And you saw Alcor, those guys in the US. They're sort of doing it at the moment. Yep. Yeah, so the transhumans, they're all sort of thinking of ways like, if we can't actually get indefinite health spans, what do we do? What's our
can we
backup
preserve
plan?
Ourselves?
That's right. They thought of everything, right?
Yep. So do you know anything about
for rabbits?
Do you know anything about the deadline for? I did see what they had done, didn't they? They cryogenically stopped. I forget what part of a rabbit it was, and completely brought it back. Implanted
I don't know if
it worked fine.
Yeah. That's right. I don't know if it's running around or anything, but I think they had to kill it or something for humane reasons. I don't know. It's like, what's humane? Like freezing in the first place, or like coming and making it come back to life again?
I don't know. There's a show I wanted to recommend to you if you hadn't seen it. It's called Black Mirror.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, okay, you have seen Black Mirror. Fantastic.
That is the ultimate transhumanist pop culture.
Is that not an amazing show?
It's so amazing, right? The whole contact lenses thing. Yes. That episode was so good.
We'll just put in a patent for them.
Yeah, we're documenting all these sort of transhumanism in pop culture on the website. Mm-hmm. So we're just going through like all the movies, right? But yeah, Black Mirror, the Christmas special, right? That was so good.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. I like the one where the gamification one where it's like is running on the track and he's getting, credits.
Yeah, that was really, really good. I enjoyed that. And I think that still the best episode is the season 3 episode 1 that I forget the name of the episode. But man, that was so good. That was so good. It takes you in so many different directions and ties into all the little bits and pieces. So
one where he's
so
like
very
telling
good.
him what to do on the date, or
Yep.
is that, and he's like, yeah, that's right.
That was
and,
really,
and
really good.
Sony's trying to patent it, right? And Google's already patented the glucose version.
They did.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be imagine just augmented reality. Like
Yeah,
even that's just
yeah.
going to be fascinating. Like
Yeah,
we're going to one day look at smartphones as if they're, just these
things on the wall, right?
these fancy little things that we used to carry around and be fascinated with. Now they're just, an app that we access and pull up in the corner of our eye.
Yeah, we host the AR VR guys, every month, and they sort of have these latest and greatest demos, and every time I'm mind blown, like the Magic Leap stuff, right? And you're seeing that mixed with what you can do with AI in front of it. So it's like sort of memory analytics. It'll just jog your memory of what you're trying to say, right? So it prompts you of all these things,
really?
and eventually it will have a direct connection to your neurocortex. But this is sort of
that would be intensely awesome.
Like facial recognition. Who's that guy's name?
Who's that guy?
Right?
Oh, this is so and
What
so.
is he
I met
like?
him then.
Yeah, what to talk to him about, right?
Right.
It's going to be so cool, and people are going to have a lot more engaging conversations rather than just talking about the weather all the time.
Yeah, and that's another thing with the I guess the biohacking thing that I really like is improving your own cognitive abilities, because that's I mean that's always been something I've placed pretty high up on the things I like about life scale, is being able to think about the world and the nature
to
of
make
reality.
it better.
Yeah, exactly.
And enhance yourself, enrich yourself.
Exactly.
Right?
and enhancing your mind, I think it's going to be brilliant to be able to access words that you're trying to think of that you can't quite grasp.
That's right. That's
where you put your keys. I mean, it's simple stuff, but I mean,
all these things that evolution hasn't come up to yet, right?
Exactly.
We're just accelerating it, And that's what I love about this whole law of accelerating returns. You're using the tools of today to build the tools of tomorrow.
Exactly.
And that just doubles, every time. And what we're doing now is we're trying to make our tools better and the tools on top of our heads, inside our heads.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't wait. I honestly can't wait. I'm excited. It's going to be so good. I'm going to be one of the people that is, in line to receive their implant. I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, definitely. Like we're starting from nootropics first, so sort of things.
Oh, actually,
I love coffee.
I do love my coffee as well, but I also have I don't have the bottle with me. I also take Alpha Brain, which is
that's cool.
Yeah, so it's peer reviewed and it's got a double blind study behind it, backing it and all that kind of good stuff. So I do take
awesome
a nootropic.
Yeah, it's got great ratings.
Yes, it does. it stands pretty high.
That stands pretty high.
I would be lying to say I didn't. I read their paper that backs up, whatever their evidence and their findings and stuff. Where I haven't read their paper, but I like that they at least have one.
Yeah,
that's assuring.
What I love about the biohacker community is that it accelerates the human trials sort of phases.
Yes.
So when you have a big enough sample size and a standardized way of documenting the effects, then you have a collective scientific approach to it. And when all the biohackers are actually scientists as well, like people like from BioViva. So you heard about Elizabeth Parrish from BioViva? She's
I can't say that I have.
She did gene therapy on herself.
Oh, really?
So she has the reason why she started the company is she has this particular sort of trait that her telomeres, which is the things that cause determines the sort of accuracy of cells duplicating and being
right. Isn't it tied to
a
your
healthy state?
Aging process, I think.
Yeah. So her telomeres actually shorten faster than the average person.
Oh, wow.
She was like, oh crap, I'm going to be more susceptible to age-related diseases. So she's doing her studies and started her own company, and she did gene therapy on herself through BioViva, and it's actually had a positive impact, and it's actually increased her telomeres by 20 years. Now that's waiting for peer review.
Wow!
Right? If every biohacker had access to that, way of doing it,
right,
and then they did it to themselves, like for the people that are with her condition as well, right? That's pretty much desperate for a cure. Then that collectively can advance the medical sort of research sphere.
Yeah, that's amazing. So she's effectively increased her lifespan potentially.
Yeah.
Granted, there's no peer review on it yet, but
yeah. So great for her, right? And hopefully,
exactly.
they're on the right track. So
well, I think that's brilliant. Well, especially here now, the big push has been stem cell therapy on like joints and injuries and things like that. And it's supposed to be remarkable as far as recovery times.
Yeah, I can't wait. I've got one of these fingers that had snapped off the ligaments at the very top, so I can't bend my middle finger. It looks like I'm giving the finger to everybody, but I can't bend it. I'm sorry. Right? So it happens. So yeah, I need something to repair that, and hopefully stem cells is the answer to do it.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
I'm sure there are people with worse. Yeah.
Luckily, I've got all my hand motion back. Wrist motion is still. It's a little tight, so I'm still working around it.
That's good to hear.
I do have all my hand motion. That was one thing I was concerned about.
Yeah, should be able to make a full recovery with the plates.
Yes, right? I'm very much so pleased about that. But tendon, could they do tendon? I don't know. Can they do tendon yet?
Not yet. Probably bone. They can.
Yeah, bone they can do. I've seen those. Yeah. Those are pretty amazing. Have you seen the 3D printing of bones and like prosthesis for missing like skull plates and pieces of jaw?
That's so cool. I know. It's just like, come on, just build a damn human already.
Right. Exactly. just make one.
Just make.
Just put it into the 3D printer. You've got the schematics. Just.
That's right. It would make pregnancy so much easier, right?
It would. I'm sure my wife would be all for it.
Yeah, that's right. Do you guys do much in vitro fertilization? I mean, and screening for diseases in the US? What's the sort of?
There's a small, a small screening process. It's optional. You don't have to go through it. We did. It wasn't in vitro or anything like that, but we did go through the screening for any of that, especially with the is it Zika virus going around. We wanted to be sure that I mean we are in a fairly tropical area, lots of mosquitoes, so we wanted to make sure there weren't any cases reported. But it was better to go through the test than not. And I think there's also Down syndrome and a couple of other different tests that they run.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, why would you gamble it with it? It's just the whole lifetime of the child, right?
Well, I think there was an argument, this is maybe a month or two ago, about designer babies. Yeah,
it's a sort of almost key thing about transhumanism. It's like, don't want to be Nazis, right?
Right. And I'm okay with the idea of designer babies, really. I mean, wouldn't you want a healthy child? I mean,
exactly.
That's kind of what you're going for.
I think of the Chinese, right? It's just those Asian dragon mothers will always want, the best for their child. They want the best education, the best sort of food, milk powder and all that sort of stuff. Why not the best genes? And even if it's, a combination of your own genes, screened for any sort of genetic traits, and also making sure that is the best out of the best.
Right.
It'll give yourself the best chance. Because if it's a one child, two child policy thing, you only got one or two shots.
Exactly. Well, that's with the biohacking thing. A lot of people don't understand that, like, even exercise and diet is a part of that. Like you're trying to, I guess, find your own, or a part of it is finding your own genetic weaknesses or genetic predispositions, and trying to do something to adjust and change those things, or just bettering yourself in general. And part of that is diet and exercise. And that's one thing I'm disappointed about in having broken the arm is I just got up to about 4 miles a day on my rowing machine. I was doing great cardio. I was just about to get back into weights, and I broke the arm.
No, it's going to set you a few months back.
Yeah, it'll set me back a little bit. I've lost that's one of the things that's very disappointing. I've lost all my hand strength, you can just tell the muscles are just gone.
You got one of those hand exercise things now.
I do.
Right.
I'm not quite there yet. They haven't released me to use it. I'm still going to physical therapy, and they're going through like exercises and stuff. So I'm not quite that far recovered yet, but I'm working on it.
I hope you get better soon, mate. It's just it's staying healthy is tough enough with a full-time job and everything.
Exactly.
It's just we've got to figure out how to make it easier for people as well. And being fit, I'm not sure what other sort of advancements there are to help you stay healthy without having to exercise. I think that would be the $1 billion cure.
I think that would be the $1 billion cure. What I found with exercise, I seem to be just a happier person.
Yeah,
I think we're still sort of in the evolved monkey bodies, and we've got a lot of built-in systems that the modern world does not satisfy. Like we need that physical exertion. It's good for you. It releases all kinds of endorphins and good stuff like that.
Yeah, we're trying to sort of promote those sort of things that the fundamental research in those fields, where the things like aging, telomeres, and at the gene level, like if you can sort of give those people that live to 120 the sort of natural ability to live healthier, longer lives without having to do any exercise. Like the people that are smoking, and they're like, oh.
I know a lot of smokers that would be very happy about that.
Yeah. So it's sort of like the genetic traits, right? Mm-hmm. And Gattaca is one of the things I'm thinking about when we're talking about designer babies and being internally healthy. Mm-hmm. And it's just about at what point do we say, okay, well, the Asian mums again example, when do they want blonde hair, right? So things introducing external gene traits to their kids.
So were you born in Australia?
I was born in China.
Oh, okay. All right. So okay. Well, I have a question for you. Were you, to quote my friend, I wouldn't say my friend, but to quote a good comedian, Tom Segura, were you raised in a Chinese household, or were you one of those? That's cute. Let's take one of those.
No. I was raised in one. I was one child though.
Okay.
Single child policy at the time.
Yep.
Came out of Australia when I was 7, so it's pretty whitewashed.
Okay.
Then.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those. Well, not that I know of. I don't know what the documents say, though.
I don't know.
You never know, right?
Well, that's good, though. I mean, I've got no prejudice against anybody really. I like, I especially like who's my favorite Asians. Asians are really racist. I've learned. I've learned Asians are super racist.
Because they think they're the only ones that can speak Mandarin, right? So they're like walking around saying it to their face.
I guess
it's like really bad.
I guess, but I don't know. So I think, or how it was explained to me is, you have the Japanese on top, and then it's Chinese, and it goes all the way down. Like,
the Koreans all want to be, Japanese or something.
Yeah, that's.
I know.
Yeah,
it's sort of like
I don't understand it
because this is so you're much more of a minority in China as a non-Chinese person than you would be a Chinese person in any other place.
I think so.
So like it's the minority thing, isn't it? It's a relative minority.
I suppose so. That makes sense. That makes sense.
And people would actually stop in the street and point at a tall white person, like walking down the street.
Oh yeah, I did hear that. I heard that from a buddy of mine who went. He's like 6'2". And he was like, those people were just amazed to see me. They thought I was like a basketball player or something.
Photos. Yeah.
He said he got asked numerous times for people to take pictures with him. And he's like, I don't even know you, but okay. I'm not famous. I'm just a dude.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You just like people just stop in the street and get their phone out.
Well,
let's give it a go.
Why not? I guess he got used to it.
But yeah, I mean, the Chinese, because they don't have any restraints around, sort of. The religious restrictions on research, I think they're going to advance so much faster in the whole CRISPR technologies and, all sorts of things that people can do. You've heard of the CRISPR cut and paste tool for genetics?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So they're at the forefront of that research right now.
Makes sense.
Places like the US and Australia, you've still got these sort of really strong religious entities opposing sort of at the genetic research.
That's true.
So you're going to see potentially China being at the forefront of this R&D, and they might take our best scientists. They, will have longer term goals, like I was mentioning about the 25-year goals, right? So, as a government, even though I'm not saying I'm supporting the whole communist thing, but as a government, that's the foresight that we could potentially model off.
I think so. Well, that's been my argument for. My argument for socialism is that, the government really, its job is to take care of us. And as long as it's doing a good job and, is truly altruistic and not in the pockets of businesses or have any other interest besides taking care of its people, I think it can be done. And if it can be done, it should be done.
Yeah.
And that model seems to fit a lot of communist and socialist ideas.
Mm-hmm. And it's about the long term, right? Not the what's
exactly
popular today.
Exactly, because
populace is hard to lead, right? You got to be a leader,
exactly,
to see what's the all powerful, all knowing, and all good element to it.
well, here I think that's a lot of what the politicians' troubles. They tend to pander to either the political party without actually paying attention to what people are trying to say, which is why you get like big pushes for candidates like Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, well, we talked about this last time, and I can't believe how far it's come, right?
Yes, very true.
Oh, dude, we joke about it now.
Well, Trump is pretty much going to be the Republican Party candidate.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
We were just like, oh God, it was a joke, like 3 months ago when we last chat?
It was. That's, well, have you noticed I'm not sure how well you follow him. I barely follow him, but I've still heard, some things have filtered through. He's starting to like backpedal on some of his more outlandish claims.
Oh yeah, now that he's the presumptive guy. Yeah.
Exactly. Now that he actually stands a serious chance, he's got people in there going, "Look, man,
he's got the VP." Yeah.
Like, look, you can't be saying this.
I guess that's a well, you got to kudos to him, right? Like, he's played it well.
I guess he has played it well. I think I don't think though, at least in any of my circles or anybody that I've associated with, everybody agrees he's just not electable. Anybody you put up against him, he's going to win. Even if you put Hillary up there, she would. I know. Even though she seems to be more of old guard, she's a classic politician.
Yeah, I mean, I was all for Bernie. Does he have still a fighting chance, or is it sort of more like 1%?
There's still a good chance.
The super delegates, right?
Yes,
got to get them across.
That's the problem, and the problem with the super delegates is even a lot of them they're going against the popular vote, which is for Bernie, and they've cast their hat in with Hillary, and it's like you understand your job, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's sort of like if all the super delegates in the seats that. Not seats. Is that what do you guys call it? States that Bernie has won, right?
Right.
They should actually go with Bernie in that one. Is that essentially right?
Essentially, yes.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that he pulls it out, and even if he runs in as an independent, I still think he'd stand a pretty good shot.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I do think the people. I think Hillary and Trump really on both sides they split their party because there's a vast swath of Republicans that won't touch Trump with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, that's right.
But they don't want to vote for Hillary either. So I think it's a good year for an independent.
So they just won't show up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll vote for independent. That's right.
But
maybe Zoltan was saying he got interviewed by one of the remaining candidates for a VP role. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how accurate that is, but if he's even got a chance, at least he can advise on some of the policies, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
Zoltan 2016.
Zoltan. That's right. So we do it.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get Science Party up. 2nd of July, federal election. We've done some fundraising on the website now. We've got I've got my ticket. I got my $1,000 fundraise to get onto the electoral roll.
Okay.
And we're standing for the whole, health span extension.
Oh, fantastic!
So all about treating aging as a disease.
So with your fundraiser goal, how can people contribute?
Oh, they can just go to the Science Party website, scienceparty.org.au, and click on Meet the Candidates.
Well, fantastic. If you're listening and you're able to, by all means.
Yeah, so it's all really just awareness building, right? We've got no chance, but if the Prime Minister is having a forum, and we just essentially, stand next to them and talk about, what isn't being invested in.
Right.
Because in Australia, probably similar to America, the science budget is actually deteriorated.
It is.
It is, sadly. Of fundamental science research, yeah. And that money isn't going in now, like we're going to not be paying it off in a few years' time.
Well, the problem here with having something like that would be you can't really come on if you're an independent party. You don't really get included in any of the debates or anything like that. You have to. There are certain key polls that you have to score a certain percentage in, or you don't get to come to the debates, and it's never really an independent.
That's right.
But so you do have the opportunity, I guess, to go up on stage next to the Prime Minister and
in the local forums. Yeah,
that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. But it's something. It's something.
Yeah, that's right. So we're not aiming to win in 2020 even. So it's sort of like in between 2020 and the singularity 2045. So
I see. Somewhere in there.
Long-term play. Yes, somewhere along those lines.
But still, I think that's brilliant. You guys actually have a party that's pushing for that idea. That's just not something that I'm aware of here in the States.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have there's sort of like a Green Party or a
Yes.
science related.
I'm sure we do.
So we have you guys have the Pirate Party as well, right?
We do have the Pirate Party.
Yeah, that's right. Got one of those in Australia.
Yep.
So they're all forming a minor party alliance with the progressive push, right? So looking at parties that have similar visions and values. So collectively, they used to have power to install one of that pool of collective progressive minor parties into the Senate seat.
Okay.
Which means they can actually have a say in between, legislations getting passed or not, and they can actually push for ones. Have a real say. If they're 50-50, they're the 51. So,
Nice.
It's not very good democracy.
Yes, but
they fixed it now, so that you can at least get some representation for the minor parties.
Well, I think that's brilliant. I don't know. I'm not too keen on how or not necessarily keen, but not too knowledgeable about how governments work in other countries. And even my country, there's still some confusing pieces. Have you looked at our tax code?
It's just so complicated. Yeah, right.
It's just so complicated. You really.
It's not really a code, is it? It's more like
It's a book. Yeah. It's a I don't know. It's a nightmare. Yes.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yes. You need a law degree in order to do that. That's why we have people to do our taxes at the end of the year, because at the end of it, it's like, I don't even know.
Yeah, and why would lawyers make it simpler? It's essentially their job and they get paid more.
Exactly.
Write more stuff that's complicated.
Exactly.
It's just all tickets to the AI, right? If they can figure it out, process map it, and make it easy to understand. Yep. The more the merrier.
I think so. It just the fear there that it's all going to turn into Terminator, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I know. It's we're going to merge with the AI before it does anything.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
People want to stay competitive.
Yes, it's going to be that we're going to lose the distinguished. There's going to be no distinguishing line by the time AI has power. There's going to be no distinguishing line, I think, between human consciousness and the AI consciousness. I think it's going to be pretty much one and the same. Yeah,
they would take our experiences and embed it in theirs, because, like you talked about the smart contact lenses, right? That all that is essentially learning how humans interact,
of course,
and learning all about our thoughts through EEG scans and how we interact with each other and empathize.
Well, that's one thing I have to keep explaining to people. They're like, "Oh, well, they're spying on us and they're seeing where I'm going on the website." It's like, you're really not that interesting. Like your porn browsing habits, they really don't care. It's not what they're interested in.
On the top of the bell curve, right?
Right.
Very average.
Right. You're very average. You're not that. Even I'm not that interesting. I mean, no one's really all that interesting. What are they going to do with your information? They really don't care.
I know, exactly.
Like they're gathering it for statistical data and being able to advertise to you what is more applicable. Which, if you ask me, that's better. Like, there are ads everywhere. If you're going to at least show me ads that I'm interested in.
That's right. Well, that's the thing. Everyone thinks they're special.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is biology. We're about a speck.
Yes.
In the scheme of the universe.
Yes, or even not just biology, just in general. Like scale
Humans.
of everything is just we're nothing.
And we used to think that everything revolved around us.
Yes, we did.
Flat Earth and all that.
Yeah.
But the more we know.
So what do you think? Do you think that I guess religion and transhumanism is? Do you think those incompatible? I mean, there's some incompatible lines there, but I think there's room for a spiritual side.
Yeah, definitely. Around the whole heaven and afterlife. Well, of course, you can have that on Earth, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
If you're all about connecting with God and this all-powerful, all-knowing being, then ultimately artificial general intelligence will be that way of doing it. And you're connecting with every other soul, where it's sort of a collective intelligence of every person on the planet. Their thoughts, if you could merge with those, that's the sort of transcendence sort of style.
Exactly. And it would
spirituality.
And it would be a real thing, like not something that we just sort of it was like, if I want, say I'm missing my ancestors or something, that's cool. I go plug into the
exactly.
Spiritual consciousness, and ta-da, I am communing with my ancestors and all the people that have passed before me, and
like Avatar, right? With the
exactly, exactly, and they're wandering around in their virtual reality, enjoying their sense of heaven.
Exactly.
I mean, how is that not?
That's a lot more tangible than just
yes, it's much more tangible than just
promise
in a book.
Yeah, that's right. That doesn't change.
Yes, very dogmatic. Yeah, so I think there's a place for the spiritual realm within it, and I think that there's a problem with the religious people that say, oh well, it's cold and heartless, and it's not necessarily. It's actually it's very altruistic and very I guess utopia sort of idea.
And the whole Neil deGrasse Tyson puts it, right, is like, when people look at the universe and they feel small, right, that speck and the whole individual within that speck. But he feels big because, we're made of stardust. We're all sort of intertwined in this energetic, cosmic universe.
Exactly.
We're all part of it, right?
If it weren't from the
energy,
if it weren't from the supernova that would have released the, heavier elements that make up a good portion of our body.
Over.
If it weren't for those things, then we wouldn't be here. That's how those atoms are made.
Exactly. So I agree with him, and I feel big, and I can't wait for the future where we actually connect on the sort of spiritual level, and the AI.
I think so.
And sort of turns the universe into an intelligence using every energy that there is in the universe.
Well, I think that's a beautiful idea.
Let's get there, right?
Yeah, let's make it happen.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Tomorrow, right? We'll get right on it.
That's right. Yeah, I'll take it to the election.
Yes, done. So the other idea, I guess, with all of that is that how do you feel about there being other intelligences in the universe?
Oh yeah, it's bound to happen. So
I think statistically it has to be.
It has to be. Right?
Look at the numbers.
There's probably more advanced ones.
Yes, probably.
There's more advanced ones.
In much calmer space within the universe, I'm sure they're more advanced. They've been around for longer.
Exactly. And our concept of advance is like way, out of sync with what it can be, right?
Yes.
So you're looking at like what we talked about, smart energy, right?
Yeah.
And perpetuating the universe. If you look out and you're trying to find concepts that what we think intelligence would be, we might not find it because we're not looking for the right things. And also, it's a big place.
It's a very big place.
One of the things I was saying, where the future civilization might actually find more meaning looking on the inner space rather than the outer space.
Yeah. Like
within black holes and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Exploring what's in between the lines, like that movie Her, when when Scarlett Johansson was talking about, we're going somewhere far away, and I can't quite explain it. It's when you're reading a line, it's in between the text. So that's the sort of at a particle level, going further and further deeper. It's sort of like the black holes, and exploring what is the Planck length and what's beyond the Planck length.
How fascinating would that be? Or imagine being able to plug yourself into a computer that is, I guess, running a simulation of the universe from, the beginning to, whatever point in time you would like to step into. You can step into this VR and truly experience like the Big Bang or like anything you wanted to experience, the heart of a black hole. Yeah. Like, how amazing
different
would that
dimensions.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Insane.
It's going to be an interesting world.
That's why I want to live longer, because there's not going to be a time on the current stage to explore all of that. Right? I want to be there when it happens. When
exactly.
We figure it out.
Exactly. I want to be there to experience the next wave of humanity, the next wave of the next industrial revolution, if you will.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's exciting today. We're seeing breakthroughs every day, but of course, at the fundamental level, right?
Right. Well, I'm looking forward to impacts on a day-to-day life, in my life basis. Like, I love reading about the things, and they're fascinating, but I'm waiting for them to get to me. Like, even when I had a cast on my arm, I was, like looking at 3D printed casts and trying to figure out if there was a place around here that did those.
Yeah.
Because they're amazing. Like the 3D printed casts, they've got like these little what is that called? It's like these basically micro vibrating devices built into the cast.
Yes.
And so you plug them in for a certain period of time per day, and your smartphone monitors it, and it basically speeds your healing by about. I think it cuts off about 30% of your healing time. So it's not a whole lot, but that's significant. And also the cast
Starship Troopers.
Also the cast, since it's printed and made of plastic, you can just go get in the shower and you don't have to put your arm in a bag and go through all that nonsense.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep on replacing things and just maintaining it, and hopefully that'll take us past the whole health span escape velocity.
I think so. I think so.
Like Ray Kurzweil came out. Ray Kurzweil came out and said it might be 2029. Yep. Like that's the point where every year you age, you get a year back.
Yeah, and then that'll be amazing.
And, eventually you can actually go back in time, right? For your biological age.
Yeah, can't wait. And that's primarily the thing I look at in taking care of myself and my health and all that kind of good stuff.
Stay healthy. Yeah,
is trying to be able to see those things in the world. And also see my kids grow up and all that kind of stuff. But so I was already considering like I had ridden my bike for 9 years, no accidents, a few close calls, and so I was getting ready to sell the bike in like 4 months before my accident. So I was just about ready to sell it, and then I got my accident. And as I'm laying there on the concrete, I'm going, "Yep, that's what I get, I guess."
Oh no!
Yeah.
All right. You know what? At least you've experienced the whole
I have had
the
experience.
Thrill. Yeah, the experience and the thrill of living, right? Of being on the bicycle. So,
and there will be a point in time in the future where I'll be able to plug my head into the virtual reality of riding a bike, and I'll have no risk whatsoever. I can push it as fast as I want to go.
That's what we're aiming for, right? In the meantime, we'll just lower our probabilities of death going forward. I think
exactly.
Good way to do it. Yeah. I think they used to call it a microns, right? So, 20 minutes of exercise gives you back 30 minutes of life. That's the concept of a micron. And, the things we do, like driving, to work as opposed to taking public transport.
Yeah, it takes those chances. It takes that. A bit.
Yeah. And, how many flights do you take in a year?
Yes.
All those sort of things. How much do you go to the beach? It's kind of sad, right? It's like, all right, what can you do?
Right, exactly. It's like, but I still want to enjoy things. I still want experiences.
That's right. Yep. It's like, what's the optimal level where you can still get to that escape velocity?
Exactly.
I think if someone figures that out, promotes it and lives by it, right?
I think it was the estimate.
Might be a thing.
Who's the guy? Big long beard, likes his beer. Methuselah project.
Yeah. Aubrey de Grey.
That's him. I think he was saying that the anywhere from the age of 50 and up stands the potential. So at 30, I think I stand a pretty good shot as long as I take decent care of myself.
Yeah, same. Yeah, 30 years old. So let's stay healthy and just optimize.
Exactly. Take care of yourself, people.
That's right.
If it's good for you, you're going to get to see some amazing things in the future. Stick around. Join us.
Exactly. All right, Miles, it's been great talking to you, man.
It has been, man. I really enjoy having you on.
I enjoy this so much.
Yep. Yeah. Like I said, it's my shows have sort of slowed down since I'm recovering. But now that I've got some movement and I'm getting around a bit better now, they'll start coming out a bit more frequently. And I love having you on. And as always, if there's anybody you want to send my way, or if you need a platform to pitch anything, by all means, man,
so proud of this. You're still doing this while you're covering as well, right? So
of course.
It just goes to show the power, the passion of the people.
Yes, it's something. Like I said, man, it's something I want to do. It's not something I'm just playing with.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. There's some interesting people in Australia, so I'll definitely flick those contacts across.
Yeah, by all means.
The biohackers, there's the guys who's standing for AI as well, like people talking about basic income.
Yes.
We might have touched on.
There's a couple places that are doing it now.
Yeah.
There's one in Canada and one in Switzerland, I believe.
Yeah, Switzerland's voting on that.
Yes.
So coming up, so they probably won't get it passed, but it's going to raise so much.
That's some awareness. That's really, I think, ultimately how it has to be. You get that basic income, and you get to, everything else is automated for you. It's
That's right. That's right. We got to be ready for it.
We do.
Otherwise, there might be pitchforks and torches.
I think you do have to take care of your people. If you do not, and you start, automating all these jobs and these positions, people still got to eat.
Yeah, and they're not gonna listen to no matter what you say anymore.
Exactly.
At that point.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot. I'll send those contacts to you, Mark.
Yeah, please do, man. And
it's been a pleasure.
It always is. And you have a good one.
That's too long.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
Bye.